The thing is, we're all aching to get back to circumstances wherein we as a church can regather corporately on Sunday. And I have to say, each week that goes by, each Sunday that goes by, I miss you more and more. There have been times when I've imagined the first moment where I'll be able to serve communion to you again. When that happens, I can't guarantee that I'm going to keep it together. I suspect it's going to be joyful and emotional. Because there is something that we're missing, something spiritual and emotional that we're missing in this time apart from one another. But the thing that we have to be careful of is the insidious ways that our push to return to Sunday gatherings can become an attempt to neglect the greater cause of neighbor love that this moment in our country demands. Our desire to return to regular Sunday gatherings, they must not become a way that we drown out the cries for justice that we hear from the streets, cries for Breonna Taylor or Ahmaud Arbery or George Floyd or Sandra Bland and so many others that are being ground down by the machinations of systemic sin and oppression. Our worship now, in this moment, and when we gather, it must be a comfort to the hurting. It must be a sustenance to the saints in the struggle. It must be a joyful song in the midst of the sorrow of oppression. Otherwise, we run the risk of valuing burnt offerings and sacrifices over God's demand that we love our neighbors as ourselves. The conversation, it ends with Jesus saying to the teacher of the law, when Jesus saw that he had answered wisely, Jesus said to him, "You're not far from the kingdom." And nobody else dared to ask Jesus any more questions. Jesus notes that the man sees the deep resonating connection between loving God and loving neighbors. And in seeing that faith, Jesus says, "You are not far from the kingdom, my friend." I want to live my life near the kingdom. I want us as a church to live our collective lives near the kingdom. And if that is our desire, then it means that we will need to be a people who love our neighbors with our lives, with our voices, with our prayers, and with our sacrifices. When Jesus says we are to love God with our whole lives, he then says the second commandment is like the first. Because of that, I don't think that it's a tremendous leap to understand our Lord's to be saying to us, love your neighbors with your heart and with your mind and with your soul and with your very lives. And if we do that, if that is our telos, then I suspect we will hear Jesus saying to us, friends, you're not far from the kingdom.